Hello friends, I welcome you all on my YouTube channel Science Setu. So friends, in today's video, we are going to discuss previous year questions of physical spectroscopy and term symbols which was asked in CSIR NET December 2015 exam. Okay, so let's start. Now see, this is your first question and it says if reduced mass of a diatomic molecule is doubled without changing its force constant, the vibrational frequency of the molecule will be, and you have four options. Okay, so friends, when we change a reduced mass of a diatomic molecule from initial value to double, then you must find the vibration frequency of that molecule, that diatomic molecule, out of these four choices. Okay, and this question is coming for 2 marks. So let's do the solution of this question. Now see friends, we have a general formula from which we must find the relation between your vibrational frequency and reduced mass and force constant. The formula is your vibrational frequency is equals to 1 upon 2 pi under root of k upon mu. This is a general formula, okay, in which your k is a force constant, and mu is a reduced mass. Okay, and in this question the force constant is constant, okay, a constant quantity. Now from this relation you get the relation between force constant and vibration frequency, that is your reduced mass is inversely proportional to vibrational frequency. Okay, this is a relation. Now from this relation we conclude that mu1 upon mu2 is equals to under root of mu2 upon mu1. So when we have a two vibrational frequency and two reduced masses, then this can be correlated by this equation. Okay, and this equation is coming from this formula. Okay, now friends, in our question we have mu2 is equals to 2 times mu1. According to our question, it says that when reduced mass of a diatomic molecule is doubled. Okay, so the mu2 is equals to double of mu1. So mu2 upon mu1 is equals to, the value of mu2 is equals to under root of 2 times mu1 upon mu1. Okay, so this mu1 will be cancelled out by this mu1, and we must find the value of mu2. So from this relation we get that mu2 is equals to, this will be mu1 upon mu2. Okay, sorry friends, this will be mu1 upon mu2. Okay, because mu1 upon mu2 is under root mu2 by mu1, and here you place 2 mu1 instead of mu2 from this relation. Okay, so the value of mu1 upon mu2 is equals to value of mu1 upon mu2 is equals to what, under root 2 by 1. Okay, so from this we must find the value of mu2. So mu2 is equals to 1 by under root 2 mu1. mu2 is equals to 1 by under root 2 mu1. Okay, so it means relationship is mu2 is equals to 1 by root 2 times the original frequency. Okay, mu2 is 1 by root 2 times the original frequency. Okay, and this is your option number second. It is your option number second. See in the corner. Okay, understand? See once again the solution. You can just put this simple formula, the relationship between your vibration frequency and reduced mass, and by this relation you can solve this question. So the answer should be your option number second, that is 1 by root 2 times in the original frequency. Understand? Okay, So this is a solution of your question, and it is came for 2 marks. Now we move towards our next question, and see, it says possible term symbols of the excited states of sodium atom with the electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3p1 is or are, and we have 4 options. Okay, so friends, we have a electronic configuration of sodium atom, and we must find the correct term symbols for this electronic configuration, and this question is came for 4 marks. Understand? So let's do the solution of this question. Now friends, we have a electronic configuration of sodium atom, that is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 and 3p1. So we have an unpaired electron in a 3p orbital. So we must find the term symbol for this unpaired electron. So first of all, the electronic configuration of p1 is in this manner. Okay, this is a p1 electronic configuration. The value of L of this +1, 0 and -1, this is a azimuthal quantum number. Okay, for your respective p orbital, that is px, py and pz. Now first of all, our general expression for term symbol will be 2s plus 1 L in nj. Okay, this is a general expression. So in term symbol, first of all, we must find the value of 2s plus 1. So the value of 2s plus 1 is, see, first of all, the value of s is half. Why? Because we have only a single unpaired electron that is present in px orbital, and the spin of this unpaired electron is half. So the value of s is half. So the value of 2s plus 1 will be equals to 2 into half plus 1. So 2 into half is 1 and 1 plus 1 is 2. So the value of 2s plus 1 is 2. Understand? Okay. Now after that we must find L. So from this configuration you can conclude that the value of L is 1. Okay, and the value and the expression and the symbol for L is equals to 1 is P. Okay, you know very well that the symbol for L is equals to 1 is P, L is equals to 0 for S, and L is equals to 2 for D, and L is equals to 3 for F. So here L is equals to 1 and the symbol related to L is equals to 1 is P. So the value of 2s plus 1 L is 2p. So 2s plus 1 L is equals to 2p. Okay, now we must find the value of J. So we know very well that the value of J is equals to limit of L plus L to, its value will be goes from L plus L to L minus N, mode of L plus S to L minus S. Okay, so J will be equals to the value of L plus L. See, the value of L is 1 and S, the value of S is half. So it will be equal to 1 plus half. Okay, 1 plus half and 1 minus half. The value of J is L plus S and L minus S. Value is from L plus S to L minus S. So the J have two values, that is 1 plus 1 by 2, that is 3 by 2, and 1 minus 1 by 2, that is 1 by 2. So we have two values of J, that is 3 by 2 and 1 by 2. So from the values of J we have two possible term symbols for this electronic configuration, that is 2p3 by 2 and 2p1 by 2. On the basis of your value of J, we have two possible term symbols for this electronic configuration, that is 2p3 by 2 and 2p1 by 2, and I hope you understand it. We get two values of J, that is L plus S is 3 by 2 and L minus S is 1 by 2. So this will be your option number second. The option number second is the correct answer of this question. See in the corner, friends. Understand? Okay. See once again the whole solution. It is a very simple question and it is came for 4 marks. Okay. Now we move towards our next question, and see, it says the 1H NMR frequency at 1 Tesla is 42.4 megahertz. If the gyromagnetic ratios of 1H and 13C are 27 into 10 to the power 7 and 6.75 into 10 to the power 7 per Tesla per second respectively, what will be the 13C frequency at 1 Tesla? and we have 4 options. Okay, so friends, we must find the frequency of 13C uh, and the at 1 Tesla frequency. Okay, and we have the gyromagnetic ratio or values of 1H and 13C. Understand? And this question is also came for 4 marks. So let's do the solution of this question. Now see friends, first of all we must know the relationship between your vibrating frequency and gyromagnetic ratio, that is G. So for this we have a formula, that is gamma, that is your frequency, is equals to omega is equals to gamma B naught. Okay, and we know very well that your gamma is equals to E by 2m into G. So from these two equations we get that frequency omega is equals to E by 2m into G into B naught, and here G is your gyromagnetic ratio of that particular atom. Okay, and omega is frequency. So from this relation we get the relationship between G, gyromagnetic ratio, and frequency, that is your frequency directly proportional to the gyromagnetic ratio of that atom. Okay, omega is directly proportional to G, and in this question we have two species, we have two frequencies, that is omega related to your 1H and omega related to your 13C, and you must find the omega related to your 13C. Okay, so from this relation what we conclude that omega ratio of the frequencies of omega and carbon will be equal to their gyromagnetic ratios, where equal to their ratios of their respective gyromagnetic ratio, that is G of H and G of carbon, which is equals to the value of gyromagnetic ratio of hydrogen is 27 into 10 to the power 7 upon, this will be 6.75 into 10 to the power 7, and we have frequency of hydrogen, that is according to your question is 42.4 megahertz. Okay, frequency is 42.4 megahertz, and we must find the frequency of carbon. So the frequency of hydrogen is 42.4 upon frequency of carbon we find, and this will be 27 multiplied by 10 to the power 7 upon 6.75 multiplied by 10 to the power 7. Understand? So this 10 to the power 7 will be cancelled out by this 10 to the power 7, and the 27 will be cancelled out 4 times by 6.75. Okay, 27 is cancelled out 4 times by 6.75. So we have a frequency of C13 is 42.4 megahertz upon 4. Okay, so the frequency at 1 Tesla is 10.6 megahertz. This will be 10.6 megahertz. So this is the answer of your question, which is your option number first. See in the corner, your option number first is the correct answer of this question. Understand? See once again the solution. It is a complete solution of this question. So for the general formula for that is this formula. This is a very important formula, friends. Remember, this formula can tell us about the relationship between your frequency and gyromagnetic ratio. Okay, let's move towards our next question. And see, it says the molecule with the smallest rotational constant in the microwave spectrum among the following is, and you have 4 options. Okay, so out of these 4 options you must find that what molecule has the smallest rotation constant. Okay, and this question is coming for 4 marks. So let's do the solution of this question, friends. Now see friends, in when you talk about rotational constant in microwave spectroscopy, so the formula of rotational constant, that is B, is H by 8 pi square IC. This is a general formula for your rotational constant in microwave spectroscopy, where B is your rotational constant. Okay, and I is moment of inertia. So from this formula we conclude a relationship between moment of inertia and your rotational constant, that is the rotational constant is inversely proportional to moment of inertia. The rotational constant is inversely proportional to your moment of inertia. Okay, so and the formula for finding moment of inertia is when you find the moment of inertia for any molecule, the formula is mu r naught square. Okay, where mu is reduced mass of that molecule. Mu is equals to reduced mass of that molecule, for which you must find the value of I. Mu is the reduced mass of that molecule, for which you find the value of moment of inertia. Okay, so it means the moment of inertia is directly proportional to reduced mass. Or you can say that from this relation you can also conclude that your reduced mass will inversely proportional to rotational constant. Okay, so reduced mass is also inversely proportional to rotational constant. So from this relation we conclude that the molecule which has highest reduced mass will be smallest rotational constant. The molecule with highest reduced mass has highest moment of inertia and its value of rotational constant will be smallest. From we conclude this statement by this relationship. Okay, so we can write the statement that the molecule with highest value of reduced mass has highest value of I and smallest value of B. Okay, so from this statement, so apply this statement on your given choices, that is option number first, second, third or fourth, and out of this option the option which has highest reduced mass will be smallest rotational constant. So when you carefully observe all your four options, see in the corner, so in our all options it consists carbon, hydrogen, boron, nitrogen, chlorine and fluorine. So first of all you must place the correct order of their reduced masses of that atom, okay, of the molecules. Okay, so the correct order of reduced mass of the respective molecules is H2, then after B2, then after C2, then N2, then F2, then Cl2. This is the correct order of respective reduced masses of your respective molecules in your periodic table. Okay, so so it means chlorine molecule have highest reduced mass, then fluorine, then nitrogen, then Ca2, then B2, then H2. So when you carefully observe all four options, see the option number third consists chlorine, carbon and fluorine. The molecule that is ClC triple bond C and F. Okay, it consists chlorine, carbon and fluorine. So it means this will be have highest reduced mass. This molecule have highest reduced mass among your all four options. Highest value of mu, highest value of reduced mass out of your four options. Okay, so when it has highest value of reduced mass, so it means it has highest value of I, and when it has highest value of I, that means its value of B will be smallest. So the smallest value of B is for your option number 3, that is this molecule ClC triple bond C and F. This molecule has smallest value of rotational constant, okay, according to this statement. So again it is a very simple question, friend, and this question is asked for 4 marks. Understand? Okay, and let's move towards our next question. And see, it says the spectroscopic technique that can distinguish unambiguously between trans 1,2-dichloroethylene and cis 1,2-dichloroethylene without any numerical calculation is And we have four options, that is microwave, UV visible, X-ray photoelectron and gamma ray spectroscopy. So you must find that what technique which we use for distinguish between trans 1,2-dichloroethylene and cis 1,2-dichloroethylene without any numerical calculation. And this question is asked for 4 marks. Understand? So let's do the solution of this question, friends. Okay. So friends, when we talk about rotational spectroscopy, or the other name is microwave spectroscopy, so we say that in rotational or microwave spectrum given by those molecules which have permanent dipole moment. This is a statement in rotational and microwave spectroscopy, that rotational or microwave spectrum given by those molecules which have permanent dipole moment. Okay. So those molecules which have zero dipole moment are microwave inactive, and those molecules which have non-zero dipole moment are microwave active. So first of all, you observe the criteria of dipole moment, okay, or the tendency of dipole moment in given molecule. So in our question we have two molecules, that is trans 1,2-dichloroethylene and cis 1,2-dichloroethylene. So in a trans 1,2-dichloroethylene, this is the structure, okay, of trans 1,2-dichloroethylene, and here you clearly see that the both dipole moment can oppose to each other. The dipole moment in between CCl bond will oppose to each other because they are opposite direction. So here the dipole moment will be zero in the trans 1,2-dichloroethylene, and when the dipole moment will be zero, the trans 1,2-dichloroethylene are microwave inactive. Microwave inactive. Okay, and in cis 1,2-dichloroethylene, you can clearly see that their dipole moment cannot be zero because they have in same direction, because the dipole moment of both CCl bond has in same direction. That's why its value of dipole moment will not be zero, and because the dipole moment will not be zero, this molecule will be microwave active. The cis 1,2-dichloroethylene will be microwave active. Okay, so trans are microwave inactive and cis are microwave inactive. So on the basis of microwave spectroscopy, you can easily distinguish between these two molecules, okay, without any numerical data. So the correct option is option number 1, that is microwave or rotational spectroscopy. Understand? Okay, and this question is came for 4 marks. And so let's move towards our next question, and see, it says the vibrational frequency of a homonuclear diatomic molecule is nu. The temperature at which the population of the first excited state will be half of the ground state is given by, and we have 4 options. Okay, and this question is came for 4 marks, friends. Understand? So let's do the solution of this question. So friends, in this question we must find the temperature at which population of first excited state will be half of ground state. You must find the temperature, and for concluding the temperature, we must use the Boltzmann distribution law for relative population of states. Okay, so what is the Boltzmann distribution law? See that according to Boltzmann distribution law, the relative population of states is given by relative population of states is given by a formula of Boltzmann distribution law. Formula says that n2 is equals to n1 e to the power minus delta E upon kb into t. Okay, here you use that the energy is in term of h nu. So n2 is equals to n1 e to the power minus h nu upon kb into t. Here t is temperature and kb is constant. Okay, n2 is population at the excited state and n1 is population of ground state. So the ratio of population of excited state and ground state, n2 over n1 is equals to e to the power minus h nu upon kb into t. Okay, so n2 is, say that it is a population of first excited state n2, and n1 is a population of ground state. Okay, and in our question C, it says that population of first excited state will be half of ground state. You must find the temperature at which population of first excited state will be half of ground state, and here n2 is a population of first excited state and n1 is a population of ground state. So it means according to our question, it says that n2 is a half of n1. n2 is half of n1. Okay, so by this relation what we conclude that n2 into n1 will be equal to half. Okay, when you rearrange this term n2 is equals to half n1, we get that n2 over n1 is equals to half. Okay, so we can place the half in this n2 or n1 in this equation. So n2 or n1 is equals to half. So half is equals to e to the power minus h nu upon kb into t. When we convert it into natural log, e to the power natural log, so ln2 is equals to minus h nu upon kb into t. Okay, ln 1 by 2, sorry, not ln2, ln 1 by 2 is equals to minus h nu upon kb into t, and this will be equal to ln2 is equals to h nu upon kb into t. When you remove minus sign in this equation, this ln 1 by 2 will become ln2 and this will be positive, h nu upon k by t. Okay, so ln2 is equals to h nu upon k by t, and we find the value of temperature, that is T. So from this we get that T is equals to h nu upon kb into ln2. So this is the temperature, the value of temperature, h nu upon kb dot ln2, and this is your option number second. Your option number second is the correct answer for this question. See in the corner, friends. Okay, it is again a very simple question. See once again the solution of this question. I hope you understand it. Okay, so in this question we must use the Boltzmann distribution law. Understand? Okay, friends. Let's move towards our next question, and see it says the symmetry allowed atomic transition among the following is, and we have four options, and this question is also asked for 4 marks, and we must find the symmetry allowed transition out of these 4 options. Okay, this question is came for 4 marks. So let's do the solution of this question. Now friends, when you find the symmetry allowed transition, we must know the selection rule. So the selection rule says for allowed transition, the selection rule says that those transition are allowed transition in which the difference in spin multiplicity will be 0 and the difference in L will be 0 or plus minus 1. Those transition in which the value of delta S will be 0 and delta L will be 0 or plus minus 1 are allowed transition. It is a selection rule for transitions. Okay. So according to the selection rule, when you apply the selection rule on these 4 options, the second option says C. It has the transition between 3F to 3D. So in which the value of S is 3F is 3 and the value of S here is also 3. So in this transition the value of delta S will be 0 and you know the L value for F is 3 and the L value for D is 2. So the value of delta L will be minus 1. Okay. The transition from 3 to 2 is minus 1. Okay. So plus minus 1. So all both the selection rules are applicable on this atomic transition. So your option number second are allowed transition on the basis of your selection rules. Okay, understand? So friends, ये था आपके क्वेश्चंस जो दिसंबर 2015 में फिजिकल स्पेक्ट्रोस्कोपी एंड टर्म सिंबल्स टॉपिक से पूछे गए थे. आई होप आपको समझ आए होंगे. फिर भी अगर किसी भी तरह की डिफ़िकल्टी आए तो कमेंट सेक्शन में आके ज़रूर पूछिए. सो थैंक यू फ्रेंड्स, थैंक यू फॉर वॉचिंग.